All right, moving on to the next steps in our order to cash business workflow in BAP365. So the next two steps actually happen in tandem. So in the previous step, we created the work order, and you saw that we now have a supply order that is supplying the items that will eventually be shipped against the sales order that we created a few steps ago. So after the work order is created, there's an overnight process known as MRP, or Material Requirements Planning. It runs every night, and it basically looks at all the open work orders and starts planning for the raw materials you need for those work orders. And so the next step after MRP runs would be in your purchasing swim lane. But in this step, we are going to run the purchasing supply needed report. That exists in a few places, but the primary place where this exists is in the report collection of planning. So under report library, you have report collections. Different departments have their own collection. And in this case, we're going to go to planning. We're going to go to the second report in the list, which is purchasing supply needed. So I'm going to just click export because it's going to run against all orders. So luckily, as you've seen in the previous steps, we're working with Henry Logistics, and we're working with this HLog item that we created, and there's our work order we created in the previous step. And so what this report is telling you, for this sales order, for this customer, for this item, you need the following components brought in order to build this out, right? So we reviewed this in the Material Requirements tab of the work order when we created the work order. But we need, by May 1st, we need 500 of this, 1,000, 1760, 1950, 1500. So this report tells you what this order needs, so specific to the sales order we're talking about. And if there were other orders out there that needed the same item, it's telling you the quantity there. And then it's telling you what your cost was last time that you ordered this item, and then when that cost date was. So all good information. So in general, your purchasing or your buyers would work from this list, and as soon as sales orders are entered, as we did in previous step, we entered the sales order. Let's pull up our flow chart. So we entered our sales order. Engineering created the bill of materials. They created the assembly routing. Your planning department or production created the work order. MRP ran overnight, right? And then we got us to this step of run the purchasing supply needed report. So that's what we're looking at this step. So now our purchasing folks are ready to take action on this raw material that is needed. So that'll complete this step in the workflow, and then the next step would be for the buyer to actually create orders or purchase orders to bring this raw material in. So we'll show that on the next step of the order to cash workflow.